And now, here's your host.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. I know I've been covering what's happening in Israel, and people, of course, are outraged. And how could it have happened on October 7th? And where was the military? And now the war is still being fought, and it's unfortunately taking a lot longer than anybody anticipated. But how do Israelis protect themselves from, God forbid, some other terrorist incursions like what happened on October 7th? Well, our guests are trying to do something about that. So we welcome, they're both from Israel. One of them is Kosta. He's an ex-IDF soldier from the Givati Brigade. He served from 2004 to 2007 in special frontline units. He also was in the Gaza Strip from Philadelphia border on the south to the north before Israel got out of Gaza in 2005. Since October 7th, he's been trying to help get certain tactical equipment to the army. Chaim Mandel is making sure that people who live in these communities, especially near Gaza, are able to protect themselves. And with a community rapid response team, he formed Mishmar HaGavia. So welcome both of you to the program. I thank you for being here with us. Kosta, if you want to put on your video camera, people, if you allow people to see you. So, of course, we are live on YouTube as well.
All right, let me have a minute. I have my lights off here. I have a baby.
I'll turn to Chaim. I'll turn to Chaim in the meantime. So tell us about yourself. October 7th changed everything. And obviously you saw a lot of people were not prepared for what happened. And so while everybody relies on the army, but what you're saying is we have to also rely on ourselves for protection.
Yes, hi, Zev. Thank you for having me on. Is the audio fine? You hear me clearly?
Loud and clear.
Okay. What I did before the war and what I do for a living is I teach martial arts and fitness. So when the war broke out, we suddenly realized that if, God forbid, the Arabs inside of Israel decided to rise up and do a massive uprising and attack on Jewish communities within Israel, then we're in serious trouble. So we quickly organized the civilians who have guns, and we do patrols, and I'm in charge of their training and getting them in the necessary tactical gear to protect their communities. And this is not only on the settlements that are near the Gaza border, but this is relevant to every Jewish community, because if you're familiar with Jewish communities in Israel, every single Jewish community has an Arab community adjacent to it. And this is probably deliberate from the point of view from the Arabs, in order to have the easy access to attack Jewish communities.
So basically, yours is not just for the settlement communities, but anybody in Israel needs to have self-defense and be able to know. So you're training them in martial arts and whatever needs. Are you training them in weapons as well?
Yeah, whatever weapons training I'm not qualified for, I'm arranging for certified shooting instructors to teach us shooting tactics and anything related to weaponry. That's right.
Wow. Let me welcome Kosta. You were with Givati Brigade. You were there. You served in Gaza before Israel pulled out of Gaza. Would you say Israel's doing a better job now fighting in Gaza than when you were there?
They are because they basically was training for that moment, I think, all the time. So it's not something new. We just, when we were in Gaza, we just did it every day, so daily. But now they're doing good job. They're doing good job. It's just to let them continue their mission, basically.
Now, what I'm hearing, and I know that you're involved in getting certain equipment to soldiers in the Israeli army, is that with the influx of 350,000 reservists, the army was not really prepared to have so many soldiers coming in one shot as far as having certain supplies. What have you found? Because you've had soldiers reach out to you.
Yeah, so just to clarify, the military have the equipment that they need to fight. It's not means that the equipment is updated. And that's where I found an issue basically with their equipment, that it's outdated a little bit. It's not means that it's not qualified for fighting, but it's not necessarily the best equipment that they can get. And I think they deserve to get the best equipment that they can get till up now, to get better protection, better movements, and better performance.
So what are you doing to that end?
So basically, when October 7 happened, on October 8, I was already on bases here, buying the equipment that they requested as much as I can. And then after that, I got connections already with the suppliers. So I'm getting the equipment directly from the supplier and ship it to them. It's not only me, so there is another people that involved. Uh, a lot of help of the community here in San Diego, um, and a lot of people that involved in trying to help as much as they can.
I want to acknowledge Sinai Rubin, and I thank him for trying to getting both of you on the
Yeah.
air tonight. But let me ask you this question. The Israeli army, why would they go to you as opposed to the usual places where they get equipment for?
So first of all, I'm doing it for my unit. So it's my guys there. I served with them. I know them very well. I'm in touch with them till today. And don't forget,
Your unit goes back to 2005 or later. They're still there intact, or they came back again as reservists? What do you mean your unit?
they're reservists. They
Okay.
are reservists.
And they have everybody together that was in one unit that's back together again in the same unit now in lots of cases?
So in the reserves, they're a little bit spread, because there is a lot of units of reserves. But most of them, yes, most of them in one spot, in one brigade.
So they reached out to you to get what kinds of equipment do they want to see upgraded and updated?
So plate carriers, the plate carriers that they have, they're very old and they're very uncomfortable. I know them from my service, so it was 20 years ago, so I remember those. Helmets, knee protections, gloves, medical equipment like gas pads, medical kits. Now I'm working. I have a request from a friend. He's my childhood friend, actually, and he's a doctor. He's a surgeon, and he joined as a draft to the military. He joined actually to my unit. So he has a request of medical bags. It's tactical bag, basically. So they have capability. It's a group of doctors. I think it's 12 doctors, and they have capability to open a hospital, field hospital, inside of Gaza with them, with the soldiers when they're fighting, and perform surgeries.
And now I know Chaim was involved, it's still involved in self-defense before or now during the war as well. Did you have experience dealing with this military equipment that you were able to get them for your unit in the army?
What do you mean by dealing with the equipment?
In other words, you were been asked by your unit, that your fellow soldiers in the Givati brigade, that they needed certain equipment. How did you know? How did you have the expertise to get that? Were you involved in
Oh,
buying, purchasing before October 7th? Or how did you all of a sudden, they said to you, hey, I need this equipment? How were we able to get it for them?
so in the military, I use all of this equipment, and when you have a good and better stuff to wear and to use as a tactical
No, and
tactical
that
equipment.
you said they need better equipment. It's outdated. It's uncomfortable in cases, so they should have the best. And I agree with you. The Israeli soldiers should have the best and most efficient weaponry to deal with the enemy. Well, my question to you is how do you know where to procure them? Where to get the best?
So that's how I got the connections with my friends here in San Diego, and I have a couple military guys that they served in American military, and we went together to the bases and to see what they are using, and they told me the brands that they are using here in the United States, and that's how I know to buy the equipment that is actually qualified by the quality.
Let me turn to Chaim. I know that you're training individuals in the brigades. How is that coming along? I'm sure people are very receptive right now, correct? That they want to be able to be trained because at the end of the day, because the army took so long to get to some of the areas around Gaza, that you even heard stories of grandfathers going in their cars and rescuing family members and acts of heroism. But obviously there should be more protection on the ground. What I don't understand is why some of these communities even have drones just watching the outside. There doesn't seem to us very much defense mechanisms in place.
Agreed. I think nobody was really ready up until now. Many of these kibbutzim and communities were, security was neglected in a big way, and this was a big wake-up call to all of us that we should take things more serious. And what actually what's happening right now, we're creating a new layer of security across the country that hasn't existed up until now, where civilians, even people who have not had previous military service, are now getting organized, getting guns, getting training, because we realize that with all the good intentions, the law enforcement and the military are not always going to be there for us. First of all, they have their own families. Number two, they're limited in their manpower and where they can be at one given time. So especially in the religious communities, where there are not so many people with military background, they feel especially vulnerable after what happened October 7th. And we know that the Arabs within Israel are always arming and always training, and they're just waiting for the opportune time to stage an attack. And we need to be ready for that as much as we can.
Now, what I find very interesting, and I'm happy about it, that it seems that the Israeli Arabs did not really participate as what would have expected in this kind of situation where they would be attacking Israel. You found, yes, in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, you found that obviously Gaza, but the Israeli Arabs, for the most part, have been pretty good in this situation. So there doesn't seem to be that inside threat that everybody was always concerned about.
Yeah, I think my suspicion is that there was some kind of lack of communication, and why they didn't communicate and simultaneously attack both from the north and within Israel's borders, in addition to the south, of course. But definitely, that's if I'm trying to think like a bad guy, that would be the first thing that comes to mind, and they're probably just waiting for the right time. But I have no doubt that that day is coming. I mean, I hope to God that it won't come, but we need to be ready for that as much as we can.
I tried reaching out, but I read from Dr. Mordechai Kadar with Bar-Ilan University. He claims that there was a whole arrangement between Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, maybe in the Palestinian areas, where they were all together but attacking Israel one time, and Hamas jumped the gun and did it on its own without the other partners, which changed the dynamic somewhat. I couldn't verify. I'm trying to get a hold of. You probably have seen that as well in Israel, correct? Is there any validity to that saying that Hamas broke and did it on its own without Iran and Hezbollah and Palestinian Arabs, etc.?
Yeah, I've heard that from my sources as well. I'm sure Kosta may have something to add to that. There is also footage and videos of the Palestinian Authority training to take over parts or Israel in general that we know about. So it's no news that they're trying and they're planning to do something on a mass scale.
Kosta, I know you have military sources, so what do you hear as far as that's concerned?
So it's already was published. Actually, this plan was already ready and was about to execute it actually 2 years ago. I think in 2007, Benjamin Netanyahu was speaking about it in the Knesset, and it's actually
2007 would
described.
be more than 15 years. Or you're saying that this plan goes back 2007?
2017.
17, okay.
2017, this plan already was known, and it's actually, if you're gonna hear the interview of Benjamin Netanyahu in the Knesset, you're gonna see that it's one by one.
So this has been obviously years in the planning. So from what I've read, and I'm here in the States, I know you're in San Diego, but you're more in touch also what's happening in Israel, that this whole training was over the last 2 or 3 years. What you're saying, this planning may go back to 2017 or earlier.
Probably earlier, 2017, it was already published. So Benjamin Netanyahu was talking about this plan publicly.
We're looking how individual Israelis are helping and to protect the country. Chaim Mandel has brigades where people learning self-defense and learning to protect their communities. Kosta is involved in making sure the Israeli soldiers have the best and latest equipment that they need to do their job. We're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned. If you'd like to chime in, our numbers are 212-769-1925, 212-769-1925. Email is a wonderful way to have your questions answered. Zev@talklinenetwork.com, Zev@talklinenetwork.com. Today is Sunday. We're also on WOR 710 on the AM dial from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. at iHeart Radio Station, one of the more powerful stations in the nation. We've related number 3 by Nielsen, just slightly behind WCBS AM. Tonight, Alan Dershowitz talks about a whole bunch of things, including JetBlue throwing off Orthodox Jews. We'll look also at the Jeffrey Epstein affair, where his name has popped up about 100 and some times. We'll look at South Africa, look at some other issues pertaining to the Jewish community. Also, we're on WNEW 102.7 FM HD3 24 hours a day. That's right. Also, TalklineNetwork.com. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned.
After so many wars and acts of terrorism, the people of Israel are at risk again. Israelis are living with constant danger, and many of us are at a loss as to how to help. But you can make a real difference by making a gift to support Magen David Adom, Israel's ambulance and blood service. Your gift will provide urgently needed medical supplies, help Israel's Blood Services Center, and provide equipment to MDA's 25,000 volunteer EMTs. And when you support Magen David Adom, you're supporting one of the world's leading mass casualty trauma response organizations, so you know your gift will have an impact. Make a gift today and help save lives in Israel. Call 866-632-2763. That's 866-632-2763. Or visit American Friends of Magen David Adom at redstarforisrael.org. Save a life in Israel today.
Are you moving or downsizing? Call Label at Affordable Home Cleanouts. Let them take the stress off of you. They will remove all items in a timely fashion with the utmost respect to you and your home, leaving your home in a broom-swept, ready for sale or rental condition. Are you cleaning out an estate? Well, we know that can be quite overwhelming. Not only the magnitude of work that must be done when one finds themselves surrounded by difficult and sensitive events, such as the death of a loved one or a foreclosure. Label at Affordable Home Cleanouts are quite sensitive to all those situations and help handle the removal of all the items with respect and caring. They are also the leading hoarding cleanup specialists in New York and Long Island. So hoarding, they have no problem cleaning out in a timely fashion. For any questions or to schedule a clean out, you can call 516-476-0845 or visit the website at Affordable Home Cleanouts. Make your appointment. And again, did I add, they beat all competitors' prices.
Get ready for an unforgettable experience. Zev Brenner's Talkline Network invites you to join us for the launch of WNEW 102.7 FM HD3, your go-to destination for the best in Jewish culture, music, news, and talk. We're not just a radio station, we're a community. Connect with us in the car or on the go or at talklinenetwork.com and via our 24-hour listen line on your cell phones at 641-793-0382. That's 641-793-0382. Imagine 24 hours daily access to the richness of Jewish life and thought. It's like having a vibrant community at your fingertips, no matter where you are. From thought-provoking discussions to the latest hits, our programming is designed to entertain, inform, and inspire. You won't want to miss a moment. Join us on WNEW 102.7 FM HD3 and TalklineNetwork.com. Don't miss out on the excitement. Spread the word, tell your friends, and get ready for a new era in broadcasting. This is more than a radio station. It's a celebration of our rich heritage and a platform for our shared future. For more information or to host your own radio show podcast, call us at 212-769-1925. That's 212-769-1925, extension 100. Talkline, America's premier Jewish network, broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Please welcome the 110th mayor of the great city of New York, Mayor Eric Adams.
One of my favorite radio shows. Always good speaking with you, Zev. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Every one of us remembers the horrific barbaric attack in Israel on October 7th, and we're all committed to do whatever we can to continue to help. To this end, we've created the Chibuk Foundation, a beacon of hope for the long-term needs of terror victims in Israel. Our mission? To ensure that no victim is forgotten now and down the road. When the world moves on, we'll still be there. For Yael, who needs a bike and someone to teach her how to ride it. For the countless others who need support for bar mitzvahs, weddings, education, therapy, and more. We've partnered with trusted nonprofits like Amachad, Yad Eliezer, Sulamot, Migdal Or, Yad Sarah, and Unity in Action, ensuring your donations reach those who need them the most. Join us for our launch event Tuesday, January 9th at 6 p.m. at Bellworks, 101 Crawfords Corner Road in Humdale, New Jersey, with the renowned Rav Yitzchak David Grossman, Shlomo Lemmer, Itzik Dadya, Rav Shlomo Farhi, political figures, and special guests from Israel and more. Together, with your help, we can be a steady source of support for these victims. Reserve your seat today at www.chibuk.org. That's chibuk.org. Because when the world moves on, Chibuk will still be there to help.
As New Yorkers, we like things fast. And when it comes to COVID-19, it's all about acting fast. Acting fast to get tested and treatment if you have COVID-19 symptoms. Treatment works best the sooner you start and can help you avoid serious illness. So act fast, especially if you're over 65 or have pre-existing conditions. Call your healthcare provider or 212-COVID-19 for testing and treatment options. And remember, COVID-19 vaccines are still the best protection against serious illness from the virus. Visit nyc.gov/vaccine finder today.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981. Please call us with your questions and comments at 212-769-1925. That's 212-769-1925. Or email us at zevbrenner@gmail.com.
And we're back. Our guest from Israel, Kosta, is a former IDF soldier from the Givati Brigade, and he's looking to help make sure that soldiers have all the proper equipment that they need to most professionally take care of their missions. Chaim Mandel is someone who's involved in martial arts, and he's forming community rapid response teams for Israelis to protect themselves from, God forbid, from terrorists. Let me ask you, Chaim, you mentioned before, especially in the religious community, I assume the Haredi community, a lot of them who don't serve in the army don't really have the basic training that the average Israeli would have. So are you getting a lot more requests from them to have training, to set up their own security where people learn martial arts, how to fire weapons, and how to protect themselves?
Yeah, 100%. The entire Haredi culture and the community is going through a transition where they're becoming a lot more aware and security savvy, something that they up until now was not in their awareness at all. And they are all going to apply for guns in the areas that are eligible for gun licenses. They're coming to training. They're getting very organized, and they're really trying to create, a preventive, force and not waiting till something happens. And there's an organization called Hashomer Chadash that's overseeing all of these different religious communities and helping them organize.
How many of these brigades are being formed throughout Israel, would you say?
I would say, well, I know that since the war broke out, some 700 communities in Israel created groups like these. I'm in touch with about 10 to 20 of them, more in the Jerusalem and around Jerusalem area. I'm helping them out, and then we're helping each other. But yeah, definitely a new. Yes,
it's essential. And well, like you to point out, it's not just the areas around Gaza or around Lebanon. It's different parts of the country itself. Everybody feels insecure because of what happened, and they need to have this training. Let me turn to you, Kosta. I was curious. You've been in the Givati Brigade. You were in Gaza. You must have had some interesting experience that you'd like to share with our audience about being in Gaza during those years.
It was an interesting service, a lot of transition politically, and then all the battlefield and basically changed. There is not a lot of experience that I can share, but it was fun. It was fun. Unfortunately, in the last year of my service, I got injured. So I finished my service and then I moved to a hospital basically right away to do a surgery and then rehabilitation center. But military experience was very, very fun and it gave me a lot of skills.
Were you surprised that Israel pulled out of Gaza when it did?
Surprised, not. If you ask me if I was supported, no. But at the same time, you couldn't continue the situation as it was because almost every day the soldiers were dying in Gaza. So it was harsh situation.
Because it might be a situation today, because when Israel will mop up its operations in Gaza. In the north, I think it's pretty much almost finished, and they're moving to the south. But the question is going to be is who's going to govern Gaza? And Israel doesn't want Hamas back. The PA certainly is no different, much better than Hamas. The United Nations, terrible. So at the end of the day, Israel's going to have to probably be back in business in Gaza, at least for a foreseeable future.
Yeah, from what I know, they're already building some stations. I don't know if it's gonna be some territory, like a buffer zone, or they're gonna govern. So this is political things. It's not the military. The military has two missions. One is to return all the hostages back, and the second one to eliminate Hamas and all his abilities. So this is the missions of the military right now.
Now, I read that because of the world pressure, Israel is not not really doing what it needs to be done in Gaza. They're going house to house when they could be bombing more houses. By doing that, they're exposing more Israeli soldiers to danger, to being killed by terrorist cells that are hiding behind civilians, hiding in these homes. So I'm curious to know about that, because that seems to me, unfortunately, a way, first of all, it slows down the process and also subjects more Israeli soldiers to harm and injury and possibly death, God forbid.
It is. This is the situation. The operation is going basically house to house, less bombing right now. But it's different war zone. You need to understand that it's not just from the air; it's from the ground as well, and underground. So you have like three areas that you need to scan. You need to scan the air, you need to scan the ground, and you need to scan the underground. So sometimes when you're bombing from air, if you're not using the right bombs, the underground gonna be hidden and not destroyed. And this is something that you don't want as well.
A listener wants to know, can you tell us how you got injured?
Operation fell down from third floor. So
you fell down. You fell down, or somebody pushed you.
Some object pushed me.
Are you able to elaborate a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we got some launcher there, explode the house, and it fell down, dislocated my shoulder, and thanks God I'm in one piece. So
no, thank God for that. But that was not fun. I know you said some of the service was fun. That doesn't sound that part was fun. But what kind of operations were you involved with in Gaza when you were there?
So some operations that I cannot talk about, but
even
most of the time,
20 years ago, you still can't talk about it today.
Correct. Most of the mission was basically to go to secure the ground forces, the heavy equipments before they enter in Gaza. So we were going inside first, securing the areas and letting the heavy equipment to go in.
Chaim, let me turn to you. Now you're helping communities in self-defense, and they have to form brigades and not rely so much on the government and Israeli army troops or Israeli police, that these communities should do it by themselves. What kind of monies are needed to be expended to be more secure, and do these communities have the proper funding to secure themselves properly?
Yeah, that's a lot of expenses. We're talking about technologies that can really save, save time and manpower. Whether we're talking about motion detection cameras or drones, certain communities need ATVs so they can traverse the mountainous terrain around them. We're talking about putting up fences and fixing breaches and fences. Just training and taking people to the ranges is expensive. You have to understand that there's a huge limitation in Israel. First of all, you're only allowed to own one gun, of course, but only 50 bullets per person is allowed. So that makes fighting extremely difficult.
Does that have to change because of the situation?
I would have thought so, and I hope so, but it doesn't seem to be the case. For a few days, they expanded that to 100 bullets, which is still not that much, and they brought it back down to 50 rounds per person. So the only way we can get more bullets in the gunfight is to get more guns into the right people's hands. So that's what we're trying to do.
Now, would they allocate more guns, more bullets if it's a militia or brigade that's protecting? So it's not just an individual, it's really like your own private security force. They wouldn't allow security forces to have better weapons and better and more ammunition?
Ammunition, no, but they are opening up some of the restrictions for allowing people to get guns. For example, it used to be if you made Aliyah, you needed to wait 3 years as a citizen before you can apply for a gun. Now they took down that time to basically 0. As soon as you make Aliyah, you can apply for a gun. So a lot of people are now going to have guns that didn't previously. And my goal is to have every able man and woman who can hold a gun should have one.
No, it's certainly need, but there must also be a concern about more crime. That if more weapons are out there, there could be more crime. That's, I think, always a concern, at least in the States, where they try to minimize the amount of weapons that people have.
As a matter of fact, crime has gone down tremendously in the past few months because of all our patrols in different communities. Would-be criminals know that now there are so many more people looking out. So crime is actually down.
I would say maybe some of the criminals are serving the army too. Right? Some of the would-be robbers and are not around to do the dastardly things.
We don't have Hollywood.
Okay. But I'm glad to see crime is down, and listen, Jews need defensive weapons, especially what's going on. And that's what you're doing, Kosta, is you're making sure the army gets the most beneficial weapons. So what kinds of numbers are we talking about as far as you're trying to get weapons? Who's paying for it?
So first I was paying it for my own pocket, but then I started collecting donations, and all the community of San Diego joined, and my family, my close family joined in, all the friends, everybody donated as much as they can. And then, it's went through word of mouth, basically, and people start sending as much as they can to help.
Give me an idea of numbers. What kind of figures are we talking about this far?
Small, not big. Around what, $7,000, $8,000, something like that. Right now.
So what kind of equipment are you buying for $7,000-8,000?
So because I got the licenses, wholesale licenses from the suppliers, I can get the equipment basically really, really cheap. So instead of buying a vest that vest plate carrier costs around $400 to $700, I'm buying full complete vest for $180, $200, something like that. So the price is going.
The army tells you exactly the specifics, the dimensions, the kinds of equipment that are needed? Because obviously different kinds of quality out there, and you want to get the best. So do you work together with the Army to make sure that it's conforming to what their standards are?
So I'm not working officially with the military, with the IDF, but I'm in contact with the officers of the reserves, the guys that they are in the reserves, and they are the one that telling me what they need. So then I'm going and buying the best quality that I can get.
Because we interviewed some people that are getting boots for the Israeli army. They get calls, and so it just seems surprising that and I'm happy that people are rising up to the occasion. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it just seems like you're getting vests, some other people are getting boots. Like, what's going on over here?
So you need to understand 350,000 people in one day. It's not small. I think it's the largest since Yom Kippur War or something like that. We never had a draft of 350,000 people, and 350,000 it's official. There is a lot of people that came when they didn't get the draft, so they just came to volunteer. And you know, when you're opening your storages, when you haven't have like real war in 20 years, so the equipment that you had there is minimum 20 years old.
Right, and the question is, how was it maintained during those 20 years too? They're just put in the locker and they said, we'll use it in a rainy day, and 20 years later they got to use it, and nobody has looked at it or taken care of it in 20 years.
Yeah, so this is something that, again, it's not in my knowledge. I don't know what's going on in the military. It's already higher ups. For me, when I got basically in touch with my unit on October 7, I knew that I need to do something and I can help. And I just asked how I can help. What do you guys need? Because I knew that they're going to work.
What did you do prior to October 7? What was your profession?
So I own a factory, manufacturer of blinds and shades. That's my...
In San Diego or in Israel?
In San Diego.
and your work is in the San Diego area.
Yeah, so, you know, it was a regular sunny Saturday for me. Actually, not really sunny Saturday. Like, it was sunny, but not sunny because I started getting the news on Friday night, like late night. This is when...
I think one of your friends was killed on October 7th.
Yes, on October 7, my friend Avi Indi was killed. He was in Kitat Konanut of Kfar Aza. And Kfar Aza, it was very terrible butchery there. They got hit really, really hard.
Our guest, Kosta, he is a former Givati soldier with the IDF. He's currently helping the Army get some, at least the reservists get some equipment that are updated and upgraded. Chaim Mandel is making sure that communities are learning martial arts and learning how to use weapons and coordinating this defense, not just relying on the Israeli Army. We're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Talkline Network.
After so many wars and acts of terrorism, the people of Israel are at risk again. Israelis are living with constant danger, and many of us are at a loss as to how to help. But you can make a real difference by making a gift to support Magen David Adom, Israel's ambulance and blood service. Your gift will provide urgently needed medical supplies, help Israel's Blood Services Center, and provide equipment to MDA's 25,000 volunteer EMTs. And when you support Magen David Adom, you're supporting one of the world's leading mass casualty trauma response organizations, so you know your gift will have an impact. Make a gift today and help save lives in Israel. Call 866-632-2763. That's 866-632-2763. Or visit American Friends of Magen David Adom at redstarforisrael.org. Save a life in Israel today.
Every one of us remembers the horrific barbaric attack in Israel on October 7th, and we're all committed to do whatever we can to continue to help. To this end, we've created the Chibuk Foundation, a beacon of hope for the long-term needs of terror victims in Israel. Our mission? To ensure that no victim is forgotten now and down the road. When the world moves on, we'll still be there. For Yael, who needs a bike and someone to teach her how to ride it. For the countless others who need support for bar mitzvahs, weddings, education, therapy, and more. We've partnered with trusted nonprofits like Amechad, Yad Eliezer, Sulamot, Migdal Or, Yad Sarah, and Unity in Action, ensuring your donations reach those who need them the most. Join us for our launch event Tuesday, January 9th at 6 p.m. at Bellworks, 101 Crawfords Corner Road in Humdale, New Jersey, with the renowned Rabbi Yitzchak David Grossman, Shulem Lemmer, Itzik Dadya, Rabbi Shlomo Farhi, political figures, and special guests from Israel and more. Together, with your help, we can be a steady source of support for these victims. Reserve your seat today at www.chibuk.org. That's CHIBUK.org. Because when the world moves on, Chibuk will still be there to help.
Get ready for an unforgettable experience. Zev Brenner's Talkline Network invites you to join us for the launch of WNEW 102.7 FM HD3, your go-to destination for the best in Jewish culture, music, news, and talk. We're not just a radio station, we're a community. Connect with us in the car or on the go or at talklinenetwork.com and via our 24-hour listen line on your cell phones at 641-793-0382. That's 641-793-0382. Imagine 24 hours daily access to the richness of Jewish life and thought. It's like having a vibrant community at your fingertips, no matter where you are. From thought-provoking discussions to the latest hits, our programming is designed to entertain, inform, and inspire. You won't want to miss a moment. Join us on WNEW 102.7 FM HD3 and TalklineNetwork.com. Don't miss out on the excitement. Spread the word, tell your friends, and get ready for a new era in broadcasting. This is more than a radio station. It's a celebration of our rich heritage and a platform for our shared future. For more information or to host your own radio show podcast, call us at 212-769-1925. That's 212-769-1925, extension 100. Talkline, America's premier Jewish network, broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Hey, this is Alan Dershowitz. One of the most important Jewish institutions in the world today is Talkline with Zev Brenner. He is so smart and he is so innovative and he has so many interesting guests. I don't know what Yiddishkeit, I don't know what New York, I don't know what the world would do without Zev. So Zev, Yasher Koach, may you go from strength to strength and keep informing us and educating us and keep fighting for Jewish values.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Now we're back our final stretch. Kosta is formerly with the IDF Givati Brigade. He's currently helping them procure equipment that they need for the Army. Chaim Mandel is someone who is helping communities protect themselves. Kosta, maybe just share with us what the Givati Brigade does. I understand you were a sniper and you were there, I guess, to come before the regular Army units got there. So tell us more about what unit does, one of the more elite units in the Israeli Army.
So Givati is a frontline unit. In the Givati, you have a lot of units that are recon. So, like I said, usually we are going inside before the troops. We secure in the way the path for the heavy equipment to get in and then to join us fighting. So usually you're gonna when there is Givati in, it means that it's inside and they are first.
And it's Syria because that's an elite unit, so they get in there before the regular army gets in. Army units, I should say.
Yeah, they usually frontliners. They clear in the way, and then you have. It's not just Givati. It's now in Gaza, almost all the military working. So you're working from the air, you're working from the ground. That it's tanks, units and brigades of tanks. and then you're talking about infantry.
You miss being in the army and being part of the operations?
Yeah, I will. If it was possible, I will go, but unfortunately, because of my injury, they will not take me. So, yeah, definitely, it's my brothers and sisters there.
Wow. Chaim, you've trained, I understand, thousands of people over the course of time?
Yes, I've been teaching for about 23 years now, and I would say thousands of students. Yeah.
Wow. And now you're seeing a lot more, especially among the Haredi sector, that are utilizing your services. Now, are you training throughout Israel, or you have other people that are doing it for you in different parts of the country? I know that you concentrate in certain parts of Israel.
Correct. I'm doing what my part. I'm in touch with other people who are doing similar things in other areas, and I'm also involved in getting gear to these Kitot Konanut and rapid response teams, and we're working together with Kosta and our anonymous third party, and we're trying to become a team to become efficient and make the most use and out of the donations that are coming in, that everything's getting to the right place.
And you're also working with United at Salah. I neglected to mention it earlier. As we're closing out, I just want to, we'll give it now and towards the end. People want to help you, Chaim, and what the work that you're doing to make sure that the communities are secure and people are trained properly. How do people get involved in helping you?
We're gonna organize the three of us into to some form of organization to make the most out of our resources. At this point, I can be reached at my email address, which is directcombatives@gmail.com. For people who are interested in martial arts, anything more than that, we're going to be in touch with through you in a more organized way.
Are you training people in the United States as well?
When I come, I train people. I may be coming more often in the near future, but yes.
Because I know that especially religious Jews in New York, because of anti-Semitism, have been training with guns, and I would assume they're probably more amenable to learning about self-defense to protect themselves and their families. It's the tenor of the times because of the changing circumstances, and Jews are not as secure in America, and anti-Semitism is rising to rapid, accelerating levels that haven't been seen in decades in this country.
Correct. That's right.
Let me turn to you, Kosta. If people want to get involved in helping you, how can they learn more about what you're doing? You're working together with Chaim, I know.
Yeah, so we're gonna open basically organization, so it's gonna be more official. For now, they can reach me as usual as all the people that want to help, and the ones that need help actually reaching me through my cell phone. And then I'm connecting the dots. If I can help for another unit that I know that they need help with equipment, of course, I'm connecting the dots and transferring the funds and buying the equipment and shipping it with my third party that anonymously helping us a lot.
I suspect that you have a lot of stories to tell. Is there a book in the offing? Is you planning to write the memoirs of what you went through with the Givati Brigade dealing in Gaza all those years?
Maybe there is a lot of good stories. It can take hours.
Are you able to share a good story with us now before we let you go?
Unfortunately, no. But
Is there
there were
military censor?
Yes, some operations that are under military censor, and some of the tactics you don't want to share because they're still using them. So,
But you know Hamas very well. You know Gaza very well.
yeah, we knew those fightings. We knew the tunnels. It's not new for us. We've been inside. We fought the same thing that they're doing now in 2004. So. It's not something new. It's not new for the unit.
The only thing, the tunnels are more sophisticated today than probably in 2004.
And that's correct. That's correct. They made them bigger, better, deeper, and more efficient for them.
Would you say
So-
the Hamas fighters are more proficient? Because it seems that the area where Israel is getting bogged down, are they better soldiers today than they were in 2004?
No, it's the same thing. They're not soldiers. They fight in, excuse me about the word, but like rats. They come in from the underground shooting and they go in underground. It's not a combat that you have basically in regular combat zone.
They answer
You
they
know?
have better weaponry also today, better rockets. Do they have more sophisticated guns and rifles than they had then? Because they have a lot more money today than they did then.
They have more of it. Not saying better, but more of it. That's for sure. So it's a lot of more. They got better on the rockets, yeah. They target them better, so they know how to aim them better. That's what get better. But on the ground, it's the same RPG. It's the same rockets that they used to use before. It's not something new.
I want to thank both of you, really serving not just Israel, but the Jewish people, because a strong Israel means Jews are better protected around the world. So, Kosta, I want to thank you for what you're doing, former ex-Givati brigade, but still connected and still helping. And Chaim is making sure that communities are secure in Israel and learning to rely on themselves for self-defense. So, both of you, thank you for joining us on our broadcast and continued success. And hopefully there won't be any need for your services, but as long as there is, thank God you're there to help provide it. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And there you have it. Really doing amazing, amazing work. Okay, we're out of